And we can let everybody in. Hi guys, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us today. I can't believe I'm gonna remember this. I'm gonna introduce myself. I'm Sarah Cooperman and I'm the CEO of SCW Fitness, and Water in Motion and Seat Fitness. So I don't know why I think I'm ADD rather than, what do they call that? A crazy entrepreneur. But I'm really excited here. We have the webinar tonight is the power of life coaching. Now, we haven't done a lot of this, guys, but I really would like you to try this. If you go down to the bottom of your screen, you go to the left, there's the left of that green share button is a chat box. Okay, and if you open that up, you can type in any of your questions that pop up. All right, and that would be terrific because I will make sure that we address those things. We have almost 200 people that registered. I really expect to have about 30 people on the live webinar, but then I have another 30 that are going to watch the webinar and 60 that listen to the podcast. So we're going to try to keep things pretty concise and on track. I have wonderful people with me tonight. I have Amber Toole. She's an ACE certified personal trainer. She's got a bachelor's of science degree in physical education and health. She has 30 years experience in the fitness industry. We're not sure what lighting she uses because she doesn't look like she could have that much. So I'm going to figure that one out. She loves to share her expertise with other fitness pros. Her life's mission is to spread the truth about fitness and nutrition through education. She's the owner of, you gotta love the name, The Training Tool, which is a fitness and nutrition studio in Ocala, Florida. And she's also a Fit Pro mentor. So she does mentor clients. Her studio is fabulous. She always is sharing her business advice at the Mania conferences, along with her workshops, and she does nutrition certifications for us as well, which is really cool. Mariana Santos is one of my favorite people. She has a fabulous dance program called Brazili. I just love it. We just coerced her into coming to Boston Mania as well, so I'm very excited. She's born and raised in Canada, but she moved to Brazil as a teenager. She was introduced not only to her husband, but to a different approach of dance and fitness. But she also has, through that culture that she runs, she does mentor individuals, and she does it primarily on an individual basis, where I would say Amber does it also on an individual basis to different clients. Now you can notice in the chat box, Sean Carlson, who's running the webinar, is putting in some links. So you got to really love this. We also have Kimberly Spreen Glick. She's just my friend. Okay, she's not really that intelligent or business savvy, just kidding. She was the National Group Fitness Director for over a decade and lives to tell about it for Lifetime Fitness. And she runs an incredible program called the Inspired Life University. And she wrote the SCW Life Coaching certification for us. And she leads it. And Amber is also one of our leaders in the life coaching. Kimberly is amazing. She not only understands the business, she understands the creativity, and she's very, very dedicated to her yoga community. And also, just so you guys know, she was the IDEA Program Director of the Year in the past. Pretty amazing woman. Brandy Clark, who I've just actually gotten to know pretty much recently, who's just captured my heart at these panels that we do at Manias. She's a marketing and sales coach. So she primarily focuses on the business, but you really can't separate the personal from the professional. So she mentors fit pros and she helps them to build financially successful businesses of their dreams. And I got to tell you, she and I are really in tune on this. Sometimes as fitness professionals, we feel guilty taking money. Like we should be doing this out of the goodness of our heart, and everybody should come, and my kids should wear hand-me-downs and eat the scraps out of garbage cans. No, send your kids to a good college, and we can support ourselves. We deserve to get paid for our skill set. So Brandy is She's been in the industry over 25 years. She has a very successful business, and she also helps businesses, individuals, group fitness instructors, personal trainers, individual boutique studios, and larger clubs with their social media and how to create content concepts so they can build themselves to a six-figure income. All right, I'm getting out of breath. Basically feel like a loser when I'm on this panel with all these ladies. So what I want you to do is also, if you move your mouse and you go down to the bottom, you can see the reactions button. It's 1, 2, 3 over to the right from the share screen. And if you click on that, do me a favor, give me a thumbs up if you are a current life coach. Give me a thumbs up. All right, I got a couple current life coaches here that are already doing life coaching. That's awesome. How many of you, that's great, your thumbs are going to disappear soon enough. How many of you want to be a life coach, or you realize that you're already doing it in your classes and with your clients, you're just not getting paid? So give us a heart if you want to be one in the future and you're looking to get into life coaching. Okay. All right. And anybody who wants to do the laughing thing, you think this is a webinar that's for nutrition. Just kidding. All right. So it seems like we've got actually more aspirational attendees. So we're going to dive right in. You know, we've only had 45 minutes. I only give myself 5 minutes as an introduction. So what's the general role of a life coach and the coaching process? And I'm hitting you up, Kimberly.
So the role of a life coach in a coaching process, whether you call yourself a life coach, a wellness coach, a mentor, it's all semantics. But when you're coaching an individual or in groups, we as coaches, I call us the A to B people. People come to us with an idea of where they want to get in their lives, either something they want to accomplish, something that they want to achieve, something that they want to become. They have a B. We help them get from A to B. That's it. We're aspirational in nature, and we help them strategize. We help them brainstorm. We are collaborative partners to help them tap into their own inner wisdom to get from where they are to where they want to be.
And I like the way you're phrasing that, the inner wisdom, because I think it's kind of like, all right, I'm getting a little off track here, but it's kind of like antibiotics. If you keep taking antibiotics, you're not building up your own immune system. So what you're doing, Kimberly, is you're helping them find their own strength. They've already taken that first step, seeking you out, which is huge. Mariana, you are nodding your head. Can you please add on to that?
Well, I completely agree. Like, I think that as a personal trainer, I've been a personal trainer for 19 years. And I remember that at the beginning of my career, I started to notice that it goes so far beyond just what you're doing with them in your session, right? There's so much that they open up to you about that maybe they don't talk to anyone else about. And it is your goal to listen to what they're looking to achieve and figure out tools on how you can help them achieve them, and dig into different tools that you have and listening to their specific situation and just really navigating that in a way that's sustainable for them so that they can ultimately, like, we want people to live fulfilling lives, right? It's not about just losing weight. It's so much deeper than that. It's about finding what makes them happy, right? And that's, I think, the end goal for everyone.
Yeah, excellent. There's a general role for a life coach in the coaching process. When you focus on the business branding, how do you approach that? What do you feel the role is?
To question thoughts, to teach people how to question the thoughts that are really controlling the actions they take every day. The actions that are either holding us back or setting us free, stopping us from hitting our goals or helping us blow past those goals. It all comes down to the thoughts that you think, the way that you talk to yourself, and whether or not you believe the thoughts that you think, or whether or not you can ask yourself, is it possible that may not be true? Because the majority of the time when we speak to ourselves, we're talking to ourselves negatively. We're telling ourselves that we're not good enough and we're failures and we don't follow through, and we're not skinny enough and we're too old and all of these things, and it doesn't do anything to help us. So learning how to ask yourself, is it possible that's not true? Is it possible that this could be something different? why do I feel this way? Why do I think this way? And how can I recognize the thought, but go forward anyways, and no longer let that thought hold you back?
And how do you approach that, Amber?
So really my general role with life coaching, and I feel very much like Mariana said about, as a personal trainer, you realize, oh my gosh, they need my help in so many other areas of their lives, and I can help. So I really am there to educate them and to listen to what it is exactly they need, and to help them to break through limiting beliefs, work on their mindset, understand how to set a goal. Because, for example, if somebody comes in, and a lot of people come to me and they go, I want to lose weight. Well, that's not really a goal. We need something a little bit more specific. How much weight do you want to lose? Why do you want to lose this weight? Is there something you're trying to get ready for? Is it about your health? How can we measure that instead of just on the scale? What if we looked at your blood work and how that improved, if you started to eat better and work out more? So it's really not giving them, it's helping them to discover that direct path of where they need to go towards something more specific than this grand idea of, I just want a better life, right?
And if I asked you, if I said, okay, who do you coach? Who are your clients? I love the summary you wrote up.
I coach people over 40 to help them increase their health through focusing on the basic foundations of health behaviors.
Very cool. And Kimberly, who are the individuals involved with your coaching?
Well, with life and wellness coaching, I coach a lot of the same enthusiasts who have been clients and taken my classes for years. But then my primary focus is coaching fitness professionals, like I do with our life coaching certification through SCW, helping fitness professionals expand to become life and wellness coaches.
Very cool. And Mariana?
So as a personal trainer and fitness and wellness coach and lifestyle coach, I really primarily work with women who are looking to find more meaning and feel more alive and just feel more fulfillment. But through Brazili Fitness, I help instructors just find their voice as an instructor and bring something amazing to their audience.
Okay, very cool. And you primarily do one-on-one when you're doing your life coaching.
Yes.
And Brandy, how are you? I know you mentioned before we turned the camera on that you have a program coming up soon.
Mm-hmm. We have, it's in perfect alignment with what we're talking about today. We have a virtual summit. It's free, and it's designed to help personal trainers and fitness professionals, group fitness instructors navigate this very thing with their clients, right? Like, how can they, like, why do some clients get results and some clients act like they don't even know they're supposed to show up today, and what's the mindset that they're going through and thinking, and what are some program solutions that you can come up with? So it's really just helping that fitness professional train their clients in terms of mindset, but also in nutrition and also in programming. So yeah, but
very interesting. And we just got a question from Linda, and I'm going to ask Sean Carlson to throw in the link to the online life coaching certification that Kimberly created. But once you take the online life coaching certification, you also get the live course free within a year. So that's really cool. And Linda says, I'm about to turn 74 and I see a great need to mentor people considering retirement. Though I've taken a life coaching training and completed it, it doesn't seem like there's no official certification. Is there a recognized certification? Well, the reality is, similar to the way the fitness industry is, we are a self-regulated industry, which means there's ACE, there's AFA, there's SCW. You can pretend that NCCA is ICE is the accreditation organization. They're absolutely not. They're a business like anybody else. So we're self-regulated. And that's where a lot of certifications, I think, like the SCW one, gives you the foundation, and then it's almost like an apprenticeship. You have to continue on and do it. And I think what Brandy's doing is providing foundations so you guys can look at different ways and different things you can do to become a life coach and different ways to approach. Am I right, Brandy?
Yeah, different ways that you can apply this concept to your clients, right? Like, how can I take life coaching skills? What can I do with this client that I'm having objections with or problems with? Or how do I get them to be in compliance? Or how do I get them to follow through with their nutrition plan? Or, right? It's just the skill set of personal trainers and fitness professionals. So that's what
Right.
the virtual summit is for, is just increasing their potential for better client outcomes.
Okay, that's great. How do we approach helping clients identify and set meaningful goals that align with their values and aspirations? Amber's smiling. I think that means she has an answer for that one. Go.
So first off, I think it's very important to do an intentional intake with your client before you get started with them. And I know, Kimberly wrote this beautiful life coaching certification for SCW, and I know she will probably have some really great things to add on to that. And you have to ask a lot of questions. I always tell my clients that I'm very nosy and I want to know as much as I can know about you so that I can help you the best. So getting to know them and just knowing that a good coach is someone who is curious, they pay attention to their client, they're attuned to their needs, they're able to really read people. So if a person comes to you and they say, yeah, I really want to start working out, but you're telling by their body language that something is holding them back, like being able to see that and work with somebody through that. So it's very much being a people person and paying attention to what they're saying, how they're acting, what their body is telling you, and then their actions as you begin to coach them. And identifying patterns in people, it's really important to pay attention to what you see. And I use this as an example. If I have a client who tells me that she really wants to work out 5 days a week, but I notice that every Friday she's canceling on me, and then I see that there's a pattern. What's going on in her life on Thursday that's causing her to not show up for me on Friday? Is she going out and getting smashed with her friends on Thursday night and she feels like crap and can't see me? Is something too stressful happening in her life on Thursday nights, and that's why she can't come in? So that's why you must be very curious and ask a lot of questions.
And what I find fascinating is, everybody on this call right now has these skill sets because we're teachers. We're willing to stand up and share, and we care so much about people. And Kimberly, I'm looking at you and you're nodding. I'm jumping off track a little bit, but how do we take what Amber said and then make it into it doesn't have to be my whole career, but it certainly can supplement my training and my teaching.
And honestly, I think that there's no one on the planet better suited to become a wellness coach than fitness professionals. Partly due to your point, exactly, Sarah, because we already have not only relationships with a community who would love to get this kind of service from us, but we have a skill set that we already bring to the table. We have a desire to help others. We have a desire to be uplifters, to be difference makers, and to be teachers, and to be guides and mentors. And so there's no one better suited. And so for those of you that are on the call, I know, Sarah, you mentioned in the beginning, many are aspirational. This is an absolute next step that you can take to be able to create a deeper and a bigger impact for the community that you already serve, maybe through fitness currently, but also to expand your community. And the beauty of being able to coach in the world that we live in now is so much coaching happens just like this, through Zoom or FaceTime or Google Meetup or whatever the case may be, but it's a virtual opportunity, which means you can coach from anywhere, anytime, any day, and you can expand your community beyond those who could potentially be geographically where you are at the time you're available to meet with them. So it's a really cool opportunity for us.
Oh, I love that. And this is interesting. Linda just wrote a long little thing. Linda, thank you for doing this. It says, this is how I utilize the training I had as a CPT, as a certified personal trainer. It was invaluable knowledge that served me well to guide clients. Sometimes they weren't ready to train, but needed goals reset, what a total joy walking with people this way. I miss immensely. It's a real privilege. Okay, and then she asked, which I think is very important, what about liability insurance? Because you are not a licensed therapist, you are not a a licensed dietitian or a registered dietitian. So I kind of, being the lawyer, we're in a lot of you know that I don't practice law. I play one on a webinar, but but we all need liability insurance, and I'm working right now with the company. It's called Alternative Balance, alternativebalance.com. And I'm going to have Sean put that link in, and they do offer liability insurance. That's excellent. What I like about it is very, very reasonable. It's like under $200 a year. And if you think about it, oh my gosh, you guys, you get one lawsuit, you're like dead meat. The main thing you want to do is always tell people where you are coming from. Like Amber can say, I have a bachelor's of science and physical education and health. Kimberly can say, I am a licensed life coach. I am a certified life coach. There's different things that we can present ourselves as, and you can say to them, I am not, you can even say, I'm not a certified personal trainer, but I have been working in the field of group exercise for over 30 years. Just making sure they know where you're coming from. The same way, if you're going to touch a client and move them in a certain way to help with posture or body alignment, you always say, can I touch you? And then you go in and you just grab whatever you want to grab, right? No, but seriously, presenting yourself with your knowledge and your power. I think that's it's kind of scary, but you're the best suited, Linda, you're the best suited to help these people and coach these people. So I think that that's very important. What are some of and I'm going to ask you, Brandy, what are some of the effective strategies for motivation and sustaining progress?
I like to work with a little concept that I call 100% results. And we all know that 100% results 100% of the time is really impossible. But if you approach any goal, whether it's large, whether it's small, or whether it's, in my world, whether it's business or in whether it's working with clients, 100% results would be taking this large goal. Like I once had a client who needed to lose 60 pounds. In our first session, she was just in tears. How do you lose 60 pounds? And I'm like, you don't. You lose 1 pound 60 times, right? So you don't go after it with these huge goals because they become big and then people don't start. So if you approach it from a concept of 100% results, you chunk it down, you reverse engineer it into very micro, like I like to call them micro conversions or micro results, micro yeses, where you're going to get the result, right? Like today, all we're going to work on today is a really great breakfast. That's all. I don't care what you do for lunch or dinner. That's all we're going to do. And then you have succeeded. We've got our yes, we've got our micro conversion. We got 100% results. You're good. And when you stack these 100% result wins on one another, that creates like a lot of momentum. It's like building the snowball. It gets bigger and bigger and bigger. The more you roll it, pretty soon it's rolling downhill by itself, getting larger. So
right.
That's
and Mariana, how do you do that? You're working one-on-one with these people. How do you keep the goals, the motivation going?
Yeah, so so much I can talk about this, but I think one thing that we do very wrong as an industry is, especially if you've been a personal trainer for so long or a group fitness instructor and you love working out and you look forward to your classes, it can be hard to put yourself into your client's shoes, right? Like they aren't excited about going to the gym, right? So if someone comes to me and tells me, "Oh, I want to work out 5 days a week," I'm going to tell them, let's not start with that actually, because that's actually not going to be sustainable for you, right? So you meet them where they're at because you need to understand that they're going to encounter resistance from their brain. Like the brain's job is to keep you safe. So anything that's new, that's unfamiliar, your brain is going to fight you So you have to expect that resistance and tell them to expect it, right? So just like what Brandy was saying, like smaller goals, and something that I like to call an evidence journal. So just every time that you do something that you know, a promise that you made to yourself and you kept that promise, just write it down. Like, today I drank my water. Today I went for a 5-minute walk. Like, just little steps that they have this reminder of, like, you know what, like, I do things that I say that I'm going to do, you know, so that they feel successful. They celebrate their small wins. And another thing too that has really like made a difference for me in my career is just being vulnerable, right? Like, show people that you're not a trainer robot, that you have good days every day, you know, like, and you always look forward to your workouts and you always want to eat clean, because that's just not realistic. Like, odds are, even if you love what you're doing, you have bad days, right? And I notice that, like, even on social media, when I allow myself to just like really open up about my hard days, people relate to me more. They see me as human. And when I talk to them, I'm like, hey, this strategy that I'm teaching you to reflect on daily, I still work on this on myself, you know? So then they see, like, okay, so this is just part of being human. It's not because I'm a failure. It's not because, you know, I've made bad choices all my life. No, I'm just a human being with emotions, right? And I'm just trying my best here, just like everyone. So to me, that's the biggest thing. Like, one thing, like, I remember when I became a mom, it was like a very, very tough transition for me. And I think one of the posts that I got the most engagement on social media was when I was like, wow, like, this is hard. And I was just like really like I was very open about how the transition into motherhood was hard and how I didn't feel like working out and taking care of myself anymore, right? And like, my even past clients and all, like, came in and, like, you know, like, they wanted to start working with me. So it's amazing what
they like to see you as a person.
exactly.
And how do you get your like, I was like, okay, I'm myth systems for things. Is there an app? Was there some special way you had them communicate or maintain these chunks, so to speak, that they were doing?
Yes. So I use an app called Trainerize these days. What I like about Trainerize is that you can set up little goals that people can click on daily. So one thing that we haven't talked about is dopamine, right? So dopamine, people like to think that dopamine is a neurotransmitter that makes you feel happy, but really what it does, it just makes you chase happiness. It doesn't actually allow you to feel happy. So what you really need is serotonin, right? But we can also use dopamine to our advantage. So that's why, like, when you gamify something, people are more likely to follow through, right? So they have to like click a little checkbox to show their trainer or their coach that I drank my water today. I went for a walk today. Like, that accountability, and just like and then like the app gives you badges, right? Like, oh, you're on a 3-day streak, you're on a 5-day streak. And so that's using dopamine to their advantage, right? So
Okay, very
that's
nice. And
yeah.
and Kimberly, how do you do that with your clients? How do you it's not just the verbal and emotional support that we keep their goals and motivation going. Do you document it somehow? Is there a set? You're nodding. Okay, go.
Yeah. Yeah, and I guess I'm kind of old school, although it's nice to know there's an app for that. But I actually create Google Share Docs so that my clients and I both have access at all times for a living, breathing document that can evolve over time, where they're able to track their progress. I plug in notes from our sessions. We put in there everything that they commit to doing for themselves, and not the deadline or the due date, but the date at which they commit to doing it by. And then they track their progress. I can check in on the document, and then we just communicate offline between sessions. So keep them on track.
That's a great idea, because we do a lot of Google Documents for SCW. And that way I can click share, and they can share it with their best friend if they want to, which might be, you know, they may talk to you once a week, but they're talking to their best friend, you know, every day, every other day.
It works really well when you're coaching groups too, because they're all in it together, supporting each other. And when everyone's goals are laid out on this Google Doc that everyone has access to, there's an additional sense of obligation in a positive way to be able to show up for themselves, because when you show up for yourself in a group setting, you're showing up for everyone.
Oh, that's wonderful. That's
Little peer
wonderful. Amber, go ahead.
So definitely motivation and helping people to keep that sustained progress over long time periods. One of the places that I start, this is something I say all the time. I don't claim that I made this quote. I heard it somewhere, but what gets measured gets managed. Now, in the coaching relationship with my client, I have to find out what's important to them to be measured. Not always the same with each person, but finding out what their why is, and not just, oh, I want to lose weight, but why do you want to lose weight? Is it because you don't like the way that you look? Is it because you're going to your class reunion in 2 months? Is it because maybe your husband has said, wow, you put on some pounds and you just don't feel like you're sexy anymore to your spouse? So really digging in and asking them that why, and then helping them to understand how to measure progress. It's not just what your weight is on the scale. There's other things that we can take into account. Like, I don't care what your weight is. I ask people this all the time. If you liked the way you looked, would it matter what you weighed? So maybe we look at, hey, you put on a dress and you're like, this looks really good and I like it and I feel confident in this dress. But you said something about systems, and that's something that I really work on with people in order to get progress that is going to stay, that they're going to be able to keep and maintain throughout life. They're without my coaching, because at some point they're going to graduate and they're going to move on their own. There have to be systems and routines in place to create the habits that create what their life is once you get them through that coaching stage. So that is something that's really important to help them envision. And Kimberly kind of touched on this earlier, envision the heaven of where they want to go. What is that place? What is that person? Who is she or he? What do they want to be? That's what we're going towards, and always referring back to that place, that heaven where they want to be.
And I also like that you need to give them accountability. And that's and it is, Amber, it's a great quote. If you can't measure it, you can't manage it. And so, and it sounds really silly. Obviously, we have a lot of people on staff at SCW, and every single night, everybody submits a nightly report, which means what they did that day and then what they have left to do. And they assign their own due date. Like, when can I get this done by? And they put the day and the date, like Tuesday, or what is it? Today's Thursday, August 17th. You know, they will tell you, I'm gonna have it done by Friday, 8/17. And so by assigning their own goal date, they hopefully can accomplish it. What's interesting is a lot of people assign a date or a goal that it's kind of not sustainable. Like Brandy said, how are you going to lose 60 pounds? Like, when am I going to do that by? And then the last week, they're on a starvation diet. We don't want to do that. We want those little increments and what the goals are. So I love the Google Doc idea. I love that trainer size idea. I love just scribbling it on a piece of paper or keeping it somewhere. So how does Kimberly, how does life coaching differ from therapy or counseling, and what unique benefits does it offer?
So with therapy and counseling, we're talking about someone who is a licensed mental health care professional. It is a very different role than being a coach of any kind. And the easiest way, although there are a lot of different ways that we're different, including the actual relationship we have with our clients, but the easiest way to explain it is based on a timeline. And someone typically goes to speak to a licensed mental health care professional if they're looking to get to a better place in their current life. So they're looking back, and maybe there's something that they need to heal from, or they need to overcome, or they need to manage something that's happened in their past to get to a good place here and now. As coaches, we meet them where they are here and now, and we take them into the future. We talk about where it is they want to go. So I've said it before, but we're the A to B people. We take them from point A to point B, from where you are to where you want to go. And our role as coaches is to help them, as I said before, tap into their inner wisdom, because everyone has that inner wisdom. They have this internal GPS, and we just have this really cool objective point of view as a coach. We're not attached to their opinion of who they think they are and what they're capable of. We're not attached to their story. We're not attached to anything that would hold them back. We see nothing but potential. So we get to be that objective voice that can be their collaborative partner in the process of them learning to tap into that inner wisdom and then navigate their path forward. We can help strategize and brainstorm action plans and items and such. And when it comes to, since we're talking about the difference here, the liability piece that you brought up before, Sarah, just as important as it is to tell them who we are and what we do. You know, I'm a trained life coach. I am a trained personal trainer, etc. It's equally as important when I start a relationship with a client that I tell them what I'm not. And I am not a licensed healthcare professional. I'm not a psychologist. I'm not a counselor. And we also can't be afraid to refer people to find the right source of support if, in fact, we find that we're not a right fit. Just like a personal trainer who is not a trained dietitian or nutritionist would refer them to a nutritionist if that was a part of the program they needed assistance with, right? So we need to kind of own that as part of it. So we're very aspirational in nature as coaches, and it's a beautiful place to be. I've actually had, Sarah, licensed mental health care professionals come on board as coaches in my community because they love the aspirational approach so much. So it's really cool.
Yeah, because it's less where are you at and let's look at your past. It's like, where are we going to go? Where are we going to go? Very Maslow, it's very important. And that's where a lot of modern therapy is moving nowadays. It's much less Freudian. It's moving much towards, goals and shutting down the bad thoughts. This sounds really out of place. Here I go again. But there's a great comedian. His name is Jared Freed, and maybe I love him because he's like this Jewish guy. He's hysterical. But he talks about that he's got this 10 pounds he's been trying to lose for the past 15 years. And it just inspired me, Kimberly, to listen to you and go, how do we communicate and get those people either feel good about those 10 pounds or do something about it. So it's kind of nice. Mariana, what do you think the difference between therapy and life coaching, and how do we manage that, especially when you're working one-on-one like you do?
Yeah, so I think Kimberly summed it up pretty well, but I think that for therapists, like they're more trying to unpack like what happened in your past that is affecting your current behaviors, right? So we're like she was saying, like we're focused on the future, right? And how do we get you to where you want to be? So the way like I like to think of it, and this is the whole premise of even my Brazilian dance program. It's about reminding people of their potential, right? And reminding them that they can do hard things. Like just because it feels hard today, it doesn't mean it's going to be hard tomorrow and the day after, right? So that's why even like the way we structure the program is like there are some songs that are easier to follow and some that are purposely meant to challenge you, right? Because my end goal for people who come to my Brazilian dance classes is for people to chase their dreams, right? And if they can use Brazilian dance as a tool to remind themselves that they can keep promises to themselves and do hard things, then my mission is complete, right? So that I do that through dance and through coaching too. So just reminding people of all the power that they have.
Oh, and Amber, what do you think about that? The therapy, the coaching, and can you discuss a little bit the role of self-care also within that coaching process?
Sure. So let's talk about some of the unique benefits a life coach can offer to a client. I find that I have to do a lot of coaching and encouragement around story loops and mind blocks that my clients have. Like, I can't lose weight because I'm so lazy, or I always sabotage myself. But this is just a story loop that they've created. So helping them to break their story loops. And another thing that I hear is I must eat something sweet after I have a meal. And I'm like, no, that's just a habit you've created, so teaching them about that. And when it comes to self-care, all of us who are coaches and who do what we do, we're in the fitness industry, we're in the health industry, we love people and we pour into people. And when you do that all day long, it can be very exhausting. So it's important for us as coaches to make sure that we do something to care for ourselves. And it is not anything that is, bad. We should be doing this. We shouldn't feel guilty about it. So 2 things that you must have as a coach who pours into others is boundaries. So not letting people text you on your personal cell phone at 10 o'clock at night, not answering emails after a certain time, things like that. Don't say anything, Sarah, because I know she's going to be like, you were emailing me on Thanksgiving. So don't pretend like you have boundaries. And then the other thing is balancing your energy levels, because you give a lot all day and then you come home and you have nothing left to give. I have nothing left to give to my dogs and my husband. So making sure that you're balancing that out. What I find great ways for me that I know that work for me is what fills my cup. I love to go to the beach and hunt shark's teeth. That allows my brain to just shut down. I love to have a massage like 1 or 2 times a month. I like traveling and spending time with my husband. So I have to actually go in and schedule those things on my calendar so that I don't book myself full with clients. And that's important. Taking a day or 2 off a month to not work is something that we all need to do to let that brain rest and let our creative juices come back.
I totally agree with you. It's so funny. You can have these huge problems in front of you, and I close my computer like I can't deal with this. I wake up in the morning and it's like the ideas are there. It's just all there. It's really amazing.
Sorry, could
Sandy,
I jump in on self-care? Sorry, because I heard something that, like I think nowadays, like people think self-care, they think bubble baths and these things. But I heard someone like describing that true self-care is something that connects you to you, like finding like something that connects, like gets really deep into who you are as a person and also connects you to a higher power of some sort. So this might be a little bit woo-woo, but it could be God, universe, whatever you believe, but really connects you to your purpose, right? So things like journaling and meditation and things that just really remind you of why you're here and like everything that you have to offer the world. I think that is like when I started viewing self-care that way, it made a huge difference in my overall mental health. So I think that's something that we should pay attention to.
yeah, and last but not least, Brandy, how do you adapt your coaching approach to meet the unique needs and preferences of each client?
So the thing about working with clients is everybody's different, right? And we all know this because we've all worked with a million clients, and everybody comes to the relationship with baggage, and they all come to the relationship with different personalities. And understanding their personality and how they work best will serve you. Like, for example, sometimes I have clients that are just really like me, and we don't get nothing done. We do get things done, but we talk, we have fun, and we're just loosey goosey. And then other time people will come to the call and they're all business structures, want lists, want, everything checked off like that. They want to research everything. They want to go after everything and they want to look it up. So understanding where their personality is going to take them when they're done with your session is important, because then you can say, hey, no, I know you're probably going to want to go spend 30 minutes researching this, but don't. Or I know you're going to want to go down the rabbit hole of looking up X, Y, or Z, or looking at this diet or that diet, or researching what I just told you about nutrition or whatever, right? But don't, right? Just lead into this, feel it, love it, accept it, question the thoughts, and think about it. So just really listen to what they're telling you without actually telling you, like, what are they really saying when they talk to you and the questions that they ask? Because they'll tell you what they're going to do and what they're thinking through their thoughts inadvertently. So if you just listen to what they're saying, you can actually really understand your clients. And once you understand your clients, you're then going to be able to get them to their result much quicker, because you can ask the appropriate questions. And this was one thing that I wanted to kind of touch on from something we were saying earlier is, like Kimberly said, as personal trainers, as fitness professionals, group fitness instructors, whatever we are on the front lines, and us probably only beat out by hairdressers. We get all the dirt from our clients. They tell us everything. We hear about their marriages, their children, all of the things, right? So we are the perfect person to help lift up their thoughts. We are the perfect person to question their thoughts and their behaviors and get them forward facing, future facing, like what Kimberly said, get them moving in the right direction, not thinking back, but moving in the right direction so that they don't gain the weight back again, right? Like, why do you continue gaining the weight back? Why are we still here? Like, moving their thoughts in the right direction.
All right, guys, gotta stop. We're running out of time. I know, we're going crazy. I just wanted to show you all our upcoming conference that we have online, which is our Nutrition Coaching Summit. It's really great. We have 36 sessions. You can watch it from anywhere, 26 presenters. It's all about nutrition, CEUs. We've got recordings. We've got this wonderful sessions. We've got these fantastic presenters that are going to be there. It's October 21st, 2023. So I really hope that you can join us. We'll throw that link into the chat. And I want to thank you, Amber, Kimberly, Mariana, and Brandy for joining us. I really want to thank you, Sean Carlson, for spending this extra time with us and helping us manage. And thank you all for joining. And everybody have a good night. We'll see you next month.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Bye.